Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Backgammon is beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me. Now in this video we are going to look at 20-point holding game references. Now holding games do come up very frequently when you play backgammon, so it is a good area to study, and it does draw upon a lot of useful concepts which apply to other aspects of the game. Now this area of study is really vast, so we are just going to focus on some 20-point holding game references. See this video as an introduction for you to then go away and experiment further on XG by entering a position and moving checkers around even further to really extend and embed your learning further. Nevertheless, I hope this video provides you with some useful things to think about and improve your game even further. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. So let's get started. So here we have a classic holding game where white has a midpoint in the 8-point made. Green is sitting there on a 20-point, has a 5-point board. And here it is a 15-pip borderline double, no double. So this is very useful to remember that at 15 pips for money, you have a borderline double against a 20-point holding game. And here we can see another position where green now has a 4-point home board rather than a 5-point home board, and again it's still a borderline double with 15 pips. So this is really worth remembering, and you can check out some of my other videos on counting positions as well to get better at pip counting. Here 15 pips, borderline double. Incidentally, if green had the 21-point anchor instead of a 20-point, it's also 15 pips as a borderline double, no double. So this is a standard holding game with a mid and the 8-point made, and there for money 15 pips is a borderline double, no double. Of course, in match play you would need to adjust for take points. So this is merely a reference for money that you can play around with on XG at different scores to see what happens going forward. Now, we need to think in terms of flexibility. So this still is a borderline double at 15 pips, but white has some issues here because he is stripped in the outfield with only 2 checkers on the 8 and midpoint, which just means he's going to have some trouble getting those checkers safely into the board. So here we can see that 6-1 leaves immediate shot, and other numbers like 6-2 and 6-5 are going to play pretty awkwardly because white has reduced flexibility. So this is something you want to think about in holding games: flexibility, timing, leaving shots, and so on. So these are some concepts that will come up in holding games and be really instructive in other areas of the game. Here we can see the take pass borderline is 61 pips. So really, when you have the 20-point, the golden point, you can take pretty much anything, well, with exception. But here you can see at 61 pips, it wouldn't be an error to take this. So you can really take deep in these positions when you have the 20-point, and white still has the mid and the 8-point to clear, because as we know, clearing those points can be quite difficult and leave shots later, of course, in the game. And then of course, if green hits, green can then quite swiftly turn the game in their favor. So here 61 pip take pass borderline for green. Now, when the bar point is made, it is a different scenario, because here we can see that white has an extra landing spot on their bar point. Green is a little bit more primed in. Here, rolls like 6-5 obviously play better, and green is not likely to get a shot in the same way as before because white has a landing spot and better kind of flexibility, better ease to get those checkers in. So here we can see that green can still take this up to around 47 pips. So not quite the 61 pips we saw before, but still green can take pretty deep in these positions. Here green has a 4-point home board and it is a take pass borderline at 47 pips. So this is a holding game with the bar point made. So just be mindful of whether white has a bar point made and has the extra landing spot, which means you need to be a little more cautious on whether you should be taking or not taking. Another thing to think about is how many checkers you have on the midpoint. So here we can see on the left, it is a no double, whereas on the right it becomes a double, and that is because of the number of checkers on the midpoint and the market losing sequences. So here, of course, white wants to clear the points and get home safely. And on the right hand side, white can clear the midpoint with 5 of 6 doubles. So of course, double 1 doesn't get past, but the other doubles do. And that is huge, a big market loser if white suddenly brings all those checkers down with double 6, double 5 and so on. However, on the left, then with white having 5 checkers on the midpoint, white cannot clear the midpoint with any double. So it becomes a lot more awkward with 5 checkers to clear the mid, and that's why it's worth waiting until you have 4 checkers for that to become a double on the left, whereas on the right it is a good time to double because you have sequences, market losing sequences, where you can clear the mid, which would obviously be huge, and that point of contact would disappear because green is hoping, of course, for you to leave shots when you clear the mid, but bringing them all down in one fell swoop would be an enormous advantage for you as white. And let's finally look at this position with a goalkeeper. So here green has 1 checker there on the 24 point or our ace point. And here we can see it's a borderline take pass at 30 pips. So there you are. So these are some things just to think about in this video in terms of when you should be doubling, when you should be taking, and some variations with the bar point and the goalkeeper. By all means, take these positions onto XG and experiment even further and see what happens, asking yourself the reasons why and the rationale behind the correct plays. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. See you next time. Goodbye.